What's going on YouTube? It's Yugi Bros, and today we've got another duel video for you guys. Man, I should really should find a way to change this intro up, you know? Give it more pizzazz, more finesse, if you will. I don't know, we'll see what we can do with that. Hello, and welcome to another duel video, sponsored by Gamers Galaxy. Today, we have two very interesting decks. One, a 28 card water deck, and the other, a 30 card hero deck. Who will win? Who will become victorious? Find out next on Dragon Ball Z. Today we are testing out Little City. In Little City, I mean the deck that plays Skyscraper, that summons these little heroes that get real big if Skyscraper is up while they attack monsters with more attack points than they have. It's not super creative considering Speed Duels has such limitations to what we can and can't use, but we'll show you what we did with it and we'll try to see what they can do. Our opponent is playing a water deck slightly different than our version. This one looks like it's 28 cards. They're starting out with a Screech in defense mode and a Book of Moon face down. We will draw into Skyscraper to a Hero City. The way this card works is once per turn during the main phase, if you control this card, you can target an elemental hero monster in your grave that was destroyed by battle and special summon that target. So keep track of what dies by battle and what doesn't, because that's very dependent for this little monster born every turn. We also play Skyscraper, which we'll get to in a second. We're going to summon a Sparkman, set a Battle Guard Rage. I think this was out of the Battle City box, if I'm correct. And we are going to swing into their monsters, to which they promptly Book of Moon, which is interesting because usually they want Screech to die by battle, but I think they're thinking maybe, since it's the only monster they can summon currently, they can keep it. Or they could just tribute it for this Kairyu, which we have no answer for, therefore they will flip Terror from the Deep. For those who don't know, during the main phase, you can activate this if you have a Kairyu. When the skill is activated, you can activate a Yumi from your hand, deck, or grave, aka a Legendary Ocean, because the Legendary Ocean is always treated as Yumi. In addition, while you control Kairyu, all your water monsters are unaffected by traps, which is also a very, very good effect. And if Kairyu leaves the field, you can draw 2 cards and flip this over. Keep in mind you do have to control it for that effect to resolve properly, but small price to pay, and I think that's why with 28 cards, it doesn't really matter. You're drawing 2 every time this leaves the field, and since this is your deck, you're trying to get this off the field because you want this to flip over so that... Oh, I mean, you get the point. We're going to draw into Dark Factory of Mass Production. This is an interesting card that works well with Blazeman, who we are going to summon here and use the second effect of Blazeman. The first one is if he's normal or special, you add a Polymerization from your deck to your hand. The other effect is during the main phase, you can activate this effect. You can't special summon except for the rest of the turn except fusion monsters. However, you can send an elemental hero monster from your deck to the grave, and if you do, this card's attribute, attack, and defense become the same as that monster's. So we're going to send a Clayman from the deck to the grave, then activate this Dark Factory of Mass Production, adding both the Clayman and the Sparkman back from the grave to the hand, then activating this Polymerization we already had to make elemental hero Thunder Giants. Cool little effect with Thunder Giant. Says you can discard a card, target a monster on the field whose original attack is less than this card's, destroy it. So that'll prompt their skill. Then we'll go to battle phase, try to swing in here for what would be 800, unfortunately, because we sent Clayman. And then we're going to swing for 24. They're going to allow that, in which case in damage step we're going to flip our Battle Guard Rage. Sphere Karibo has to be on attack declaration, so at this point we're free to use this, buff him up by 1,000, and swing for game. That is the point of the deck. The point of the deck is hit hard and fast, and for big damage, and the way it works in Speed Duels is it's 4,000 life points. We figure we can get in pretty easily if we can go fast and go hard. Unfortunately, when you draw hands like this, it's kind of hard to do that since we opened all the traps. But we'll make the most of it. We're going to set Floodgate and Metaverse and pass. They're going to draw in a Sphere Karibo. They're going to normal summon the Screech once again. They're going to go straight to battle phase and swing in for 1,500. They're going to pass. We're going to draw into Burstinatrix. Not the best, but we'll take it. We're going to activate the Metaverse, activating Skyscraper from the deck. This one says if an element of your hero monster attacks a monster with a higher attack, your monster gains 1,000 attack during the damage calculation only. But that is how we make our little guys bigger We're going to set the remaining 2 cards swing in. It's going to gain 1,000, so it'll go up to 22. However, they're going to Sphere Karibo, so we're actually not going to get that far. We're going to draw into Book of Moon, set it, have the Screech swing into our Burst in Tricks, to which we respond with Wall of Disruption, reducing their monster attack by 800, putting it down to 700, and having them bounce off our monster for 100. I'm going to draw into another wall. Okay, sure. The Burstinatrix show. We're going to switch Burst back to attack, and this time it's not going to gain the 1,000, because this is only at 700, so it's just going to swing over for 500 here, to which that will then trigger Screech's effect, to send 2 waters from the deck to the grave. Really good with Slushy. Really good with Slushy. They're going to draw into another Screech! Then they are going to go into battle phase, swing over our Burst, to which we will use Wall once again, putting their monster down to 700 and making them take another 5. But of course they get to use Screech's effect once again and mill 2 more waters, being the 3rd Slushy, and this time a Kairyu Shin. Now we need to capitalize on this turn. We draw into Sparkman. That's one way to capital. Unfortunately, this isn't game, but we are going to swing for 12, and then we're going to swing for 16. Maybe, hopefully, they stop us with something in case they think we have another Battle Guard Rage, and of course they do with the Book of Moon here. So that's all she wrote that turn. They're going to draw into Kairyu. They're going to roll a dice here. We're kind of confused as to why, and then we see why. It's Night Beam, and they hit the Floodgate Trap. Oh, go figure. We're going to shotgun this Wabaku afterward because we're afraid of second Night Beam, since we have no backup play here. They're going to Slushy out the Kairyu, use the skill, putting out the Ocean. Then they're going to tribute the Kairyu for Levia Dragon. That is now 1 tribute due to Legendary Ocean reducing water monsters in the hand by 1. The skill will flip itself over because Kairyu left the field, letting them draw 2 cards, and then they're going to blow the entire board up by sending Yumi from the field to the grave. Really, really dumb synergy here with water. And it's really crazy what that deck can do. However, we Wabaku to the... We won't take damage. We won't lose the game that turn. We draw into Wabaku. Well, we're not losing the game next turn unless they Night Beam us immediately. I don't know why we didn't shotgun the Wabaku after seeing the first Night Beam, but, you know, it is what it is. They're going to tribute Levia Dragon for Kairyu. This does make their Kairyu unaffected by traps in case they're worried about a trap. However, Wabaku won't actually affect the monster here. It just says we can't take damage. They're going to Summoner's Art for another Kairyu, but they're going to go into the battle phase, and we're going to Wabaku, so, you know, not much doing there. We draw into Justy Break, which is Mirror Force if we have a normal monster. Unfortunately, we don't have a normal monster. And so our opponent will draw into Sphere Karibo, normal another Kairyu, and try to go into battle phase, and unfortunately we just can't stop this. The writing was on the walls when we only drew Burstinatrix the entire... Oh, I'm sorry, we did draw Sparkman, but they had double Screech, and as you can see here, Screech really feels this deck pretty quickly. So, going into Game 3, we're going to elect to go second. They're going to start out with Reflex Slime, and... You know, it's ridiculous. We're going to draw on a Floodgate. We're going to normally Wild Heart and set a Rage. We are going to set a Floodgate Trap Hole. We're going to go into battle phase. We're going to have Wild Heart swing into their defense. Of course, why wouldn't it be Screech? Why wouldn't it be Screech? Sending 2 Slushies to the grave before promptly ending their turn. We're going to draw into a Legendary Ocean here. Not much they can really do, so they will pass. We're going to draw into Sparkman. We're going to normal the other Sparkman, go into the battle phase, swing with Wild Heart first for 1500. They're going to flip a Reflex Slime, and we can't really deal with that, so we'll pass. They're going to draw into Summoner's Art, activate it, getting their Kairyu. They're going to then roll a dice, and we know what that means. It's going to be Night Beam, and... Why? Why do they always hit the Floodgate? Why do they always hit the Floodgate? I don't understand. Activate a Legendary Ocean, summon the Kairyu. We have to say yes, because they hit a Floodgate. Then they're going to flip their skill, Foolish Burial the 3rd Slushie to the graveyard, setting up Slushies if Kairyu dies, which is kind of nuts. They're going to go into battle phase and swing into Sparkman. Thank God they swung into Sparkman. We couldn't have done Rage in damage step if they swung into Wild Heart, because Wild Heart's unaffected by traps. But it's not Wild Heart. It's Sparkman. So we're going to equip Sparkman with Rage. It's going to go up to 2600, and then because of Rage's effect, the monster Disrupt by Battle is actually returned to the hand instead of going to the grave. This is still going to prompt their skill. And they're going to draw 2 cards. And still in battle phase, they're going to Book of Moon or Sparkman here Probably on the assumption that if we have a way to out the Metal Reflex Slime going into our turn, they can't get that extra 1,000, and we can't try to swing for game. We're going to draw into Clayman. We're going to activate Polymerization. Fusing the Sparkman and Clayman in hand, we have to pitch a card from our hand now to use the errated Polymerization, so that's why we pitched the other Sparkman. And we're going to summon out a Thunder Giant. Keep in mind, we could have drawn literally anything. It didn't have to be the Clayman. We could have used the Rhoda here for the Clayman, and then whatever we drew for Clayman's effects, discard. Thunder Giant says, once per turn, you can discard a card to target a monster on the field with original attack less than this card and destroy the target. So we're going to target Metal Reflect, who has 0 attack, well, 200 right now with the Ocean on the field. Destroy it, and we're going to try to swing in for game here. 1,500 direct and 24, and that's it. They couldn't stop us. Alternatively, we could have rotated into the DD Warrior Lady that we are playing, swung DD into the Reflex Slime, take 15, banish the Reflex Slime, and then swing for the 16 and the 15 between our Sparkman and our Wild Heart. That would not have been game, though. They would have been down to 300 life points. And the downside is we would have been down to 25 because we would have had to take 15 off of, actually 17. This would have been a 32 defense with Ocean on the field. And if they were to make a Shotgun Levy play the following turn, since they do have the Slushy set up as we showed, we would have just lost. So we figured we'd go for it with the Thunder Giant, and it all worked out. So for the deck list, we play triple Sparkman, double Clayman, 1 Burstinatrix, 2 Wild Heart, 2 Blazeman, 1 DD Warrior Lady, 2 Skyscraper, 1 Skyscraper 2, 1 Reinforcements, 1 Dark Factory Mass Production, 1 Polymerization, 1 Offerings to the Doomed, 2 Metaverse, 2 Justy Break, 2 Battle Guard Rage, 2 Hero Signal, 2 Wabaku, and 2 Wall of Disruption. I know this is a lot, and yes, you could trim it down a bit, but we wanted to give the max amount of options as possible, and it kind of worked out. Game 2 was a little rough, but outside of that, you could see the consistency. The 3 Sparkman, because it's the strongest normal monster hero that we have to pair with our Justy Break. Double Clayman, because he is used in 2 of our 3 fusions between Thunder Giant and Rampart Blaster. The 1 Burstinatrix, in case we did get to a situation where we could make Rampart, but we also play 2 Nova Master, which gives us easier access with this being a fire and these being fires. 2 Wild Heart. Wild Heart's just solid. He's unaffected by traps, and with Skyscraper he goes to 25, so that's pretty cool. 2 Blazeman, as you can see with that's why we play the 1 Poly, because he searches it, but also he can send other materials to the graveyard, which is nice. The Dark Factory is kind of a win more. You could replace this with Warrior Returning Alive. We just figured, depending on where the state of the game is, you probably hit 2 normals, and it makes Blazeman more relevant to send things to the grave so that you can get a 2 instead of a 1. And since the now errated Polymerization Fusion Party skill says you have to discard a card, adding the second card back here with this sometimes just prompts itself as a discard for that skill. Offerings, I feel like you never leave on without it nowadays. Metaverse for both our field spells, obviously. Justy Break, like I said, it's the Mirror Force. We only play 2, even though we do have a colorful collection of normal monsters, just because it can be dead. Same goes for Battle Guard Rage. It could be dead. Originally, we were on 3 and 3, but we figured we actually cut 1 and 1 for 2 Wall of Disruption. It's just a better generic thing. We're playing Wabaku in here because we only get the boost when we attack with Skyscraper, so if they were to attack us, we're not getting a boost, but if we Wabaku, going then into the next turn, these don't die, and then we can, you know, use them once again with Skyscraper. And since this isn't once per turn, if you have multiple heroes that need multiple boosts, you have that at your disposal. And then 2 Hero Signals, just kind of consistency. If a monster you control is destroyed by battle, you can summon a level 4 little hero from your deck, and/or deck, I should say. Side deck is 1 creature swap. Because these are all weak, it's nice to give your opponent a weak monster like Clayman, for example, and then take their boss monster. 2 are Righteous Justice, which destroys the spell and traps on the field equal to the number of elemental hero cards you control. 2 Floodgate Trap Hole. Because we can't use Book of Moon playing under the YCS list with the 1 DD Warrior Lady and 2 Metaverse, this is our quote-unquote Book of Moon that we have for the side deck, and then the 1 Lost Wind. In the extra, of course, like I said, 2 Thunder Giant, 2 Nova Master, and 2 Rampart Blaster. You can only fuse twice in this deck between the 1 Poly and the 1 Fusion Party skill. So the max amount of times you're going to summon a fusion of the same name in here is twice, which is why we just play 2 of each of the cards we can make. But guys, that is the Hero City deck we came up with. Let me know in the comments down below what you like, what you don't like, what you would change. Give me more ideas. I'm always down for more ideas, as always. But guys, like, comment, and subscribe. Click the notification bell, and I'll see you guys in the next video.